Okay, welcome back. In this session, we are going to learn about the SCCM features. To start with, this session will tells about or explains about capabilities of SCCM. And also, if you look at some of the features also part of other products which are closely related. For example, enterprise mobility plus security and Microsoft Intune. Okay, let's focus on what are the features of SCCM. So Windows 10 management, the first feature. Windows 10 has different features out of that to keep the Windows 10 up to date, which we call it as the servicing in Windows 10, or in SCCM we call it as a servicing. You have a servicing dashboard which will be which will say that as a rings, you have a version of, for example, LTSC a version, or maybe when it is going to expire, then automatically when to be upgraded. All those things can be done from the Windows 10 management. And also in console updates, it means that SCCM itself can upgrade automatically by showing some of the features. As I said in the first slide, in the introduction or post to that, I said that SCCM is closely aligned with Windows releases, in fact Windows 10 releases. So what happens is, if you want to manage, say example 1909, or maybe in the month of 9th month, a 1909 build got released, and if you want to manage that, SCCM also should be capable of managing that. So it has to release its own update, so that update can be available within the console. And now the application delivery is another feature where you can deploy the applications, either MSI or custom scripts, or can be automated deployment. For example, if a user is part of a specific Active Directory group, automatically applications will be delivered to that users. It may be a user device or can be a user profile. When I say user and the device, there is a differentiate. For example, if you're targeting for a user, wherever the user logs in, maybe he logs into a Citrix form, or maybe he logs into his separate device, it will stream from the server and the application will be available for that user. So that's the application delivery. Coming to the device management, yes, you can do the device management. With the integration of Microsoft Intune, you have a single administration console where you can apply the policies for your devices. When I say devices, it can be your Apple device or mobile Android mobile device, and you can manage them very well with Windows, iOS, or Android device. It's like your MDM. Okay, you will have the full capabilities of your mobile device management, which is called MDM capabilities. And Windows devices can also managed now with the device management with the feature of SCCM. Next option, virtual desktop management, which is nothing but VDI. In the VDI, yes, SCCM client is supported. So basically you will have in VDI personal virtual machines and the remote desktop service sessions, or the pooled virtual machines. So when you say pooled, actually the session is not persistent, and when you log off, automatically the session goes off or closed. So these are part of the VDI. So in VDI also SCCM client is fully supported. And coming back to the endpoint protection, which we talked a little bit of the System Center family of the products, System Center endpoint protection, which is also part of now within the SCCM as a one of the features. So most of the features, in fact, we're going to talk later point when we say major features, we actually call it as roles. Why we call it roles, I'll explain that later point. But for now, the features are one of the features is endpoint protection, which is which works as antivirus, or which can be applied, like when to scan, when to do the scanning, and if found malware, what to be done. And all these things are very similar to your either McAfee or Symantec or Kaspersky or maybe Sophos. All these antivirus servers, how they work, similarly endpoint protection also works. But the advantage here is you manage as part of SCCM client. That means a single management console you have, and single client will manage the antivirus also. Coming back to the compliance and settings management feature, compliance is something that your organization sets as a baseline. For example, for set of 10 different business units must have this Outlook signature, or this wallpaper must have, or this antivirus must be installed. Certain things are your organization compliance, and they are enforced from the top level management. In such situations, you can create a baseline within your SCCM, and you can apply those complaint settings to the SCCM clients. So when I say client, actually the end machines. So what happens is, if the machine found as not compliant with your organization standards or your baselines, it will automatically remediate if really required. So this feature comes under complaints and settings management. So when I say settings, most of the Windows settings can be automated or remediated to bring the complaints back to the organization level standard. Coming back to the next feature, software update management, which is nothing about you are updating your Windows machine or Microsoft products. So software updates also can be managed within the single console from a SCCM. So the dependency within the background would be the WSS. So the WSS would be used in the background to manage the software updates, but you will have the great flexibility with the automated deployment and the great complaints reports you have from a SCCM. Okay, and the next feature would be the power management. When we talk about the power management, I'm sorry for that, 2 times I mentioned here power management, but the power management is like you have the machines when they are going to the offline or when they should go to the sleep, so that you can save the power bill, right? So that policies can be applied by reviewing, by metering when the user was not active or the session is idle, so that you can save the power settings. Because these days almost all the electronic devices which are coming are power efficient and can save the power. Okay, and you can apply the power policies accordingly to save the cost, and the power consumptions can be reduced. In fact, you have the reports before applying the power policies and post applying. What was the cost was saved, and the power utilization also. A rough figure would be generated within the SQL reporting services. The next option would be the operating system deployment. When I say operating system deployment, you can deploy Microsoft operating systems, say example Windows Server operating system, or maybe Windows client operating system such as Windows 10 or Windows 7. In fact, 7 is going to expire in next 1 year, but now if you look at the Windows 10, if you want to deploy it, you can deploy the operating system with the great user flexibility and with the great user interaction. You have an option, also you have an option from the administrative point of that, when the user is not active or not there, or maybe in the overnight you want to upgrade, you can do that. You have a full control for operating systems deployment, which also includes the operating system upgrade. See example, from Windows 7 to Windows 10 you want to upgrade, you can do that, where you can also get the users data. Say example, I as a Pavan logged on one of the Windows 7 machine, I have saved most of my documents in my documents and my downloads, maybe my desktop, basically on my user profile in fact, and also I saved maybe on my D drive or C drive somewhere. Then all the data automatically will be comes back when I migrated to Windows 10. So for me, it's the only change as operating system from Windows 7 to Windows 10, or Windows 10 or 1609 to 1709 build. That's it. There's no other difference. And coming back to the application deployment, yes, you also have an option where you can do a inventory of operating system before you migrate. What are the applications out there, so that when it is migrating to the next level of operating system or the newer operating system, you can add those AD groups or maybe that applications as a target for the new machines. So as soon as the user migrating, also applications will be installed and it will be ready for the user. So this is a great feature, and most of the companies uses operating system deployment, in fact. And the background of this would be used Windows deployment services. On top of that, Microsoft has its own engine to manage the operating system deployment. Coming back to the client health monitoring, yeah, you can do the client health monitoring within the SCCM console, which is nothing but your SCCM client itself. If it is not healthy, it will still report, and it has almost all the possible options to self-heal or self-repair the client problems and get it activated. So that's nothing but the client health and the monitoring. Yes, you have the monitoring option, so it shows in your SCCM console as a dashboard, and also it sends the email if you have configured your alerts, and all that is possible, because client health is very key. For example, today there is a mission zero critical or 0-day patch you want to deploy to all the machines. In that situation, it is very important that you should have the client health is matters, because if the client is not healthy, you can't push that specific software or maybe specific update, which is a critical update or critical patch, or maybe critical software can't reach to that machine, or which will be a major concern for the top management, because you're not able to push that software to the machine. So in that situations, if a client is unhealthy, it can self-heal, and you can get it notified with the monitoring options, and it can be repaired. And the asset intelligent is another intelligent feature, in fact, which is a combination of different. It gives you an intelligent way of reports for hardware assets as well as the software assets, and it uses information also, and the way you have assigned those specific licenses and what machines have that license holds. And this gives you a great decision option, where you can whether you want to buy it or you want to go for upgrade plan. Licensing information is a great option for you by using existing rich reporting options. Say example, you have Windows 10, whether you bought it for Windows cal based, how many cal based you got it, and when you bought it, that information can be easily pulled out, not just a Microsoft. And you can also configure for third party. For example, you could configure for AutoCAD, you could configure for Adobe and whatnot. You can configure for anything, but the configuration to be done for third party, but for the Microsoft, it's built in fact. And also it gives you great flexibility on existing softwares that are already installed. I'm not talking about the licensing, but it gives you great options to give you more information on what exactly the software's got installed on that machine. Okay. And coming back to the inventory is when you talk about inventory, yeah, inventory can be a hardware inventory or can be a software inventory. So like when we talk about the hardware inventory, how many machines you have within your environment can be found with the hardware inventory. And say example, how many machines are made of Lenovo, maybe Lenovo specific model, or maybe a specific hard disk with the size or specific RAM which is lesser than this number of machines with the lesser than RAM. That kind of reports, that kind of information can be easily pulled with the hardware inventory option. Coming back to the software inventory, it gives you exact information if this software is available. If so, that means some exe is available, or some DLL file is available, or some licensing file is available. If so, where it is located, and what users are using that information you can pull out with software inventory. Also, you have software metering, which is also in my point of view, it comes under inventory. Say example, a specific licensing information, for example, MS project got assigned for say example 10 users. Out of 10 users, maybe only 5 users are actively using and the remaining 5 were not using, but you have a business demand that 5 more requests or from a different regions you have a request. So instead of you buy, you can take these licenses by pushing uninstall package, and since you have a report that these 5 users were not using from maybe 2 months of time, you can simply take it out that license and reuse somewhere else. So such things can be accurately metered. The software metering also can be done. Coming back to the reporting, for all of these things you need a better rich reporting must be available, right? So that is available within SCCM as part of the SQL reporting services, which is the backend which will be used, and that reports can be drilled down to the each level wherever you want. In fact, you can create your own reports also, and these reports can be delivered to your management by subscribing. For example, you want every month a patch complaints on a specific date, the report can be automatically sent with a desired format, for example a PDF or HTML or maybe a Excel format. Yes, that's everything is possible because of the thanks to in fact the SQL Server reporting services, which has all these capabilities. Now since it is integrated or it's part of that SQL reporting also talks with SCCM, you can have these wonderful reports. Coming back to the remote control, for example, you have a help desk team, you want to manage the help desk team, want to take a control of some user's computer to troubleshoot some tickets, information to be resolved. In that situation, you have the remote control will be a very useful option. Instead of you go and buy some other third-party licenses, for example maybe a WebEx or maybe some other like a TeamViewer or Anydesk. Instead of buying other options, you can go for built-in option called remote control, where you can chat, you can send files, you can ask permissions before you take a computer as the remote, or you also have an option to don't ask the permission, just take it. So either way you can do that. Okay, and also you have the data and the profiles configurations. When I talk about the data and profile configurations, I'm talking about the networking and Wi-Fi settings, which are more specific to the Windows 10. User specific settings also can be configured, can be pushed from the SCCM console. And as I said, earlier power management was repeated. I'm sorry for that. And the mobile device management with Microsoft Intune, when you integrated the device management option with the Microsoft Intune, you can manage any kind of device in this world, close to any kind of device which are newly devices, or almost most of the devices are supported by Microsoft Intune, and it is the powerful it becomes as a powerful, in fact, because Microsoft Intune is a separate subscription, and if you buy that subscription, you can enable a Intune role here within the console and then integrate it, and you can manage from single console. So Intune basically a cloud-based solution where you can manage your workgroup machines or domain machines, and you can push the software, you can help them, the users, you can push the patches, and almost you can set the not just the mobile devices. I'm also talking about the Windows devices, or a device means like operating systems also can be managed. If a user was in a work group and you want to manage and he's not connected to your corporate network, yes, you can manage with the Microsoft Intune if you have the subscription. And coming back to the company resource access, yeah, resource access can be uh, granted and can be pushed out, and you can set the different policies, how they are utilizing, what kind of reports, or you can basically pull the reports to get what kind of resources are accessing by the users, and that information you can pull out. For example, you can have your company portal. Within the company portal, if a user wants to request for MS Office, he can straightforward log into the company portal and request for the MS Office. And if it is approved by the application owner or maybe your manager, in this case, it automatically gets deployed. There's no action within the SCCM console. In fact, it's fully automated, and you can access your company resources from anywhere. Once you, I mean, it's a one-time setup. If you set it up, it works great, and you don't need to worry about it, because of the thanks to the, in fact, the health checks which will be done automatically by SCCM. That would take care. So okay, so what are the features? We have multiple features, but these are not just the limited. There are many options. For example, you can manage a client over the internet. Okay, so yes, this is possible. Okay, like that, many of the options are there which we are gonna learn, in fact. But it's a good that you can go through the enterprise mobility plus security, which is a part of Microsoft Intune also. So these are the three different products which can be sold as a separate, or can be a bundle also, can be sold. So these does are very similar to the SCCM, but these are different products, in fact, and that has a great respect and great deployment and great technology, which works altogether different comparatively SCCM, but it does similar job for you.